Well, this is the day I've been anticipating. There are no butterfly fish. So no butterfly fish made it through. Pretty much on July 1st was the last I saw the butterfly fish alive, and then they didn't make it that day. But I wanted to do this to report my failure, so someone who is trying to deal with a finicky eater or butterfly fish of any species maybe be able to benefit from this. And so I want to go through what I did, what I tried, what worked, what didn't work, and obviously nothing worked that was sustainable. So these were four-eye butterfly fish, and I think pretty much I decided that in the future, when I go collecting again, that I probably will refrain from ever collecting the four-eye butterfly fish. Maybe I could try the reef butterfly and the banded butterfly in the Atlantic and see if I can get them to eat. But the four-eye are very finicky. But I do want to tell you what I did, what I tried, and of course no frozen foods worked. So I tried a number of those, and they just didn't do it. Now I'm showing you here this Aiptasia rock. You can see a little Aiptasia on the top of there. And for a while, the live rock with Aiptasia did the trick. But this is not sustainable for people who are not able to run out to the ocean and grab their own live rock and try this. So, you know, I collected the butterfly back in May. Oh boy, I don't know, it was like Tuesday or Wednesday, May 7th, 8th, 10th, 8th, probably on May 8th or 9th. And so they went from that time, May 8th or 9th. It was right after Reef Palooza in Orlando, which I didn't make because I went out collecting. And a few days later I collected the butterfly. And so they made it from May 8th to June to July. So they didn't make 2 months. They didn't make 2 months, almost. And that's typically what I find. But here we're looking at the live rock. So it's really unfortunate. One of the things I was going to try, I thought I was trying to think of things I could do and come up with new ideas, because I tried the Reef Frenzy, and I tried all the different frozen foods, you know, frozen brine, frozen mysid shrimp, just all the different formulas of frozen food, and none of that seemed to work, even frozen clams and that kind of thing. And so live foods was what I was going for, and what I was doing was running out a couple miles from my home. I can go out to the Intercoastal Way and get these live rocks, and that actually seemed to work pretty good. They would instantly go over and pick on the rocks, and little live worms would come off it, and if they were in the tank right now, that Aiptasia would not be out. It would actually be picked on or picked clean, one or the other. But you know, I travel for a living, so what I was doing, I was changing out the rocks once a week, and I probably could sustain this if I was able to change out rocks like every other day or something. But that's a crazy thing to do. I mean, run out, collect a new rock, bring it back. That isn't what I was planning on doing. I was trying to wean them off the rock and get them to eat something of a different sort. So let me pull out of this view and let's take a look at some of the things I was feeding them. So frozen foods weren't working for me, but I did try some other unconventional things that I had come across. Never heard of mastic before, but I heard some good reports about mastic, and certainly gave that a try. It's very expensive and very messy, and it's a pain to mix up and use. But I mixed it up, and it comes forms a little kind of putty. It is kind of a dry powder. that's in this bag, and then you take just a pinch of the dry powder and mix it with a drop or two of water, and it makes kind of a putty, and then you kind of stick it into your rocks, and fish seem to go crazy for it. It smells awful. It smells like fish and shrimp, and it smells like the sea. It's got a really strong smell to it that it does. But I tried that, and all the other fish I have kind of went for it, but the butterfly fish could care less about it. Absolutely could care less. The other thing I got was I was trying to find live blackworms, but could not find it, so I got these freeze-dried California blackworms, and I don't know, they seem to maybe they ignored that pretty much, and whether or not they picked on it when I wasn't looking, I'm not sure about it. But that freeze-dried just didn't work. Then something that a lot of people have used for finicky fish is this Foureye Plus Spectrum's pellets, and they didn't go for any kind of dry food at all. At least with when I first put in mysid shrimp, they kind of looked at it, even kind of pecked on it once or twice, but after that, never again. And I heard that if you use mysid shrimp on butterfly fish, they have to be whole shrimp with the eyeballs, otherwise they'll just consider it dead matter and they won't pay attention to it. They have to be convinced that it's kind of maybe some life to it. And anyway, mysid shrimp didn't work, frozen mysids, and no kind of pellet worked. I tried other pellets as well as this Foureye Plus, and then unfortunately, I should have tried some of these other things that I'm about to show you, but didn't think of. When I was at the end of my rope, I started to think of some of the things. I thought, well, you never tried live brine shrimp. I've tried the frozen, so I got some brine shrimp eggs and began to hatch those. Those actually hatched out on July 1st, the very day that I was excited about trying the live brine was the day I found the butterflies dead. So it's unfortunate I didn't give that a try, but somebody else with finicky butterflies may give that a try and see what happens. Some of the things I was hopeful for was frozen bloodworms, and I really had high hopes for frozen bloodworms. I believe that some of you with butterfly fish, maybe not the four-eye, can eventually get them on the bloodworms, and that's a matter of weaning them into it. Mysid shrimp, of course, didn't work. Frozen plankton, they had some interest in that, surprisingly enough, but it didn't sustain them. And then, of course, I tried the Fish Frenzy, which I really had high hopes for Fish Frenzy because I heard so much good about it. My other fish are crazy about it, but you could see in there's kind of a black spots. These are frozen blackworms. So this is a little bit better than the freeze-dried blackworms, but they're frozen blackworms. And but it's not all frozen. It's pretty much this ingredients on this is like clams and scallops and frozen blackworms and squid and other items that are all mixed together. It's a very good formula. I do recommend it, and you could for butterflies, but it just didn't work for my butterflies, although they did have an interest in it and would look at it and even pick on it some, but they would not devour it and get any fat from it. Of course, at the last day, the day before I lost them, I had a few other things that I hadn't thought about that I never did get to try. One was, since I was already doing the clams and the squid and all with this package, some people have luck with them actually having them in the clamshell. So I did buy some clams in the shell. And I wish I could have tried that to see for some strange reason why they would go for the same commodity if it's, you know, frozen right out of the shell. And then Daphne, I had completely forgotten about Daphnia, but this is an awesome frozen food. I used to use it all the time for troublesome fish, and it didn't occur to me until the day before they died. I purchased it, and then when I got home to use it, they were gone and too late. So I don't know. I really hope that somebody could try this and let me know if Daphnia is something that you can get your hands on. I've been trying to find it around my town, and I used to buy it all the time, and then for some reason they stopped stocking it, and then I came across it at one of the reef stores in another town and picked up a couple packs of it. This particular food is absolutely wonderful for gobies, especially if you have neon gobies or any of the cleaning wrasses and cleaning fish like neon gobies, and mandarins. So if you're not able to get like live food for seahorses and mandarins and gobies that go for these smaller foods, try frozen Daphne if you can get a hold of it, because I'm telling you, my neon gobies love this stuff and would fatten up really good on it. So I was hoping that I could try some of that, but I didn't. And then I came across this. I've never tried this, and I found it in Jacksonville, Florida at a reef store, and they had it, and it's Nutrimar ova, and it's something also I think for mandarins and pipefish and seahorses and kind of like Daphne, any of the kind of fish that that like the smaller foods like Daphne. You can try this ova, and I really wish I could have gave you a report on whether or not this worked on a butterfly fish. So it's another frozen fish to try. Frozen food, I'm sorry, another frozen food to try if you hadn't. And then talking to the reef clerk at the reef aquarium store, he had said something I have never thought about before, and this was a good thought because I've heard from people who had kept four-eye butterflies that they've never seen a four-eye butterfly refuse live blackworms. But I cannot find it. I've been to all the reef stores, aquarium stores I could in my area, and even over in Orlando, and all throughout Jacksonville, and never seen it. But he says what you got to do is go to a freshwater store where they sell discus, and I never thought about that. So if you know stores that sell discus, they probably will have live blackworms that they can sell you. And if you have finicky butterfly fish of any species, go do that. Give that a try and give us a report on that. Now, in the meantime, I have been feeding my main display tank, which is, I didn't keep the butterflies in the main display tank, but I have been feeding the main display tank like crazy because I have the new queen angelfish. And I saw quite a few queen angelfish in the $100 to $150 range, around the same size as the one I collected in the Florida Keys. So I'm pretty proud of this angelfish. He's eating like crazy, but I do travel a lot and I want to get him fat, and I'm having trouble getting him fat, but he does eat like crazy. He loves the reef frenzy. Boy, does he take that down, and that's when I'll probably use the most to fatten him up. I'll probably try throwing the live. I got to do something with all this food now, so I plan on doing that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, since the main display tank has been bombarded with tons of food, it does not at the moment have the best water quality, so I'm probably going to have to get in there and clean out some of the detritus and change out filters and do all I can during this phase. It's just something I know that whenever I collect live animals, I kind of overstock it and I overfeed it, and water quality is going to go down a little bit, and I have to deal with that and until everything settles out and I can get it back to strength. So let's take a look. So this is still the morning light, and it's kind of bluish, looking for the angelfish there. So here's my rock beauty and the angelfish. Still alive, still going, doing well, as you can see. So I need to do some cleaning on this tank today and get it back up to speed. My corals are doing okay. They would probably be doing better if I wasn't overfeeding so much. But I'm getting a lot of nuisance now. At least you know when your parameters are off when you're having to clean the glass once a day, and it's the thickness of the dusting on the glass is thicker than normal. You know your nutrients are going up. So anyway, there's my angelfish, and I'm sorry to report the bad news about the butterfly fish, but I wanted everybody to know what I did and where you can do better. So that's the quick report, the dirty report, unfortunately, but that's what I love about YouTube. We can document our failures, and everybody can learn and gain from them. So until next time, happy 4th of July and Independence Day, of course, and we'll see you next time.